I think France now realizes that it could not work with the new government in Niger. I think Macron has realized that he couldn't get the junta to be less combative and more cooperative, and I guess will be in the interest of a power like France to just throw in the towel and leave gracefully.
Yeah.
If you look at the actions that the new government has taken over the last few months, giving the French ambassador 48 hours to leave, and then cutting electricity to his residents, banning French aircraft in his airspace, so many things, so many daring, gestures and actions that the junta has taken. I think it makes a lot of sense for a power such as France to now realize that it couldn't work diplomatically with the new government in Niger, and then back up. So I think it is more a realization by Paris that it couldn't work with the new government in Niger. So he just has to make a decision and leave.
To leave. And as you point out, not to mention the safety of its troops there, the safety of its ambassador and their staff. Does this mean an end of an era for France in Niger, or I guess that would potentially depend on how this all plays out?
Yes, it does depends on how this plays out. Look, France has been the dominant Western power in the region, counting from 2010 when Islamist insurgency started, and from 2012 when Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso actually wanted France in the region. You have over a decade of French presence in the region. I don't think that would the influence of France in the region will just die with this decision. It will take some time for French influence in the region to fizzle out. But I do think that it is the beginning of much more reduced French influence in the region. But that is not going to be immediate, to be honest, because France has been there for a long time, and that its presence is not just in having military presence. It's not just having ambassadors in Niamey. It involves a whole lot, and it will take some time. But definitely, this marks an era where not just French influence, but Western influence altogether is actually on the low.
Yeah. Of course, the US maintains troops in Niger. Do you think that will continue? And what might it mean for the ongoing fight against the sort of Islamist insurgency in the region?
France's withdrawal would have devastating consequences. As I said earlier, this is a power that has been around for quite some time. You don't expect such a vacuum to be filled overnight. It will take time, even with the help of Kremlin-aligned bodies, with the help of other powers like China. It will still take a lot of time for that vacuum to be filled. In terms of the United States, I don't think the United States will actually leave. That is because the new government in Niger has not asked from the United States to leave. And Niger is a very critical location for intelligence sharing and combating terrorist groups in the region. And I don't think with France going out, I don't think it makes strategic sense for the US to go the same path. Also, we saw the US, withdrawing from Afghanistan. I don't think the US administration wants a similar experience to happen in Niamey. So, to be honest, I think the US will stay. It will be in the interest of the United States to stay. It will be in the interest of Nigerians and people in the Sahel for the US to stay, because they do not have the requisite skills and security infrastructure to be able to deal with the security challenges of the region on their own.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem as personal with the US as it has been with France. You've seen pro-coup groups waving Russian flags in the capital. Does it necessarily mean, as you point out, that Russia's in a position to fill that vacuum, particularly now with the sort of question mark over the Wagner group that had been, playing a bit of a role around those parts?
Yes. If you look at what happened in Mali, French troops withdraw, and you have Russia-aligned entities taking much more space in that vacuum left behind by France. You have Burkina Faso, where Russia is actually courting the new leaders in Burkina Faso, and the leaders they are actually courting Russian assistance. So if you look at that precedent, then it's natural that Russia would have much more influence in Niger. And if Russia has influence in Burkina Faso and now Niger, which added that on top of the influence it has in Mali, then the equation is complete. So I think that Russia would definitely be the winner in all this, and that is one of the reasons why the U.S. cannot afford to leave, because when U.S. leaves and France leaves, the winner now is Russia and Eastern powers, if you like.
Yeah. Interesting one to watch. Mohammed, always appreciate you joining us with your analysis. Thanks so much.
Thank you.